Hey, what's up? Neil Parfit here. I have a cold. Listen to my voice. Oh man, I sound like a Muppet. Anyway, today is part 3 of doing some audio tests with the Flock Audio Patch XT. And I've done my first round of testing with CAT cable carrying audio, which is AES72-2019 format. Basically, that's my cat. Here's a cat I like. Right, Googie? What kind of cat cable should I get, Goog? What kind of cat? Okay, all right, there's an answer. Okay, I think I know what I need to do now. DB25 on one end breaks out into 2 CAT cables or RJ45 connectors and gives me 4 channels of balanced audio per CAT cable. So I did my tests with 25-foot cables. Now I've gone out, I've bought more cable. So now I have 4 variants to test. These are 50-foot length. I'm going to be testing CAT6 UTP as well as STP, which is the shielded twisted pair. And I'm also going to test CAT6a UTP and STP and just see which one works the best, or if there's actually any difference at all. I know there's a little bit more copper in the CAT6 just due to the bandwidth that it used to carry. So I'm going to give it a shot. I've been told that CAT7, CAT8 doesn't matter. And honestly, I don't want to spend that kind of money on cables because if I'm going to spend that much, I might as well just get regular DB25 8-channel snakes, right? So the whole point of doing the CAT cables is to save some money and not compromise. So this is what my test will be. I'm going to go out from my Avid Matrix converters into the Patch XT. The Patch XT will patch to outputs going to my producers table, which will be feeding a BAX EQ, and I'll have that in hardware relay bypass, and then that will fire back to the Patch XT, and the Patch XT will patch that to the Matrix's AD card that I have. So it's basically creating a loop, and through that loop, I'm gonna just monitor the noise, and I'm also going to run a sine sweep and just run it through a spectrum analyzer and see if there's any difference between the 4 cable variants. So in the spirit of having a messed up voice, and I've always wanted to do this kind of voice anyway, here it is. Coming up next, the cat cable bro down. Who will be the victor? CAT6 or CAT6a, UTP or STP? The winners will wallow in shame of electronic recycling, and the winner will get to be jammed into my walls for eternity. Eternal victory. Coming up next. All right, so I'm going to go do these tests, and we will see what happens. I have no idea what will happen. What will happen next? So this is just a quick little overview of my not so scientific test, but I think it will shed enough light to figure out if this is all worthwhile. So in Pro Tools, I have a sine sweep going from 20 to 20 kilohertz at minus 18 dB FS. And then that's being fed out to my Avid Matrix DACs 1 and 2. And I have that going right back into itself, Matrix ADC. So it's patching right to there. And then it's just coming back into Pro Tools, and I'm monitoring using an Insight 2 plugin, which is my spectrum analyzer. If I unbypass this, you'll see we got like a little noise down there. It's like way down off the scale though, like it doesn't even matter. Just so you know, my monitor controller, I'm wide open at like 92 dB, which is insanely loud. So if I hit play in Pro Tools, just to show you how loud this is, like I'm not hearing any noise difference in my monitors or anything. And I'm listening to this right now. I'm gonna hit play. Jesus, that's so loud. So right now our loop is going through the BAX EQ, which is on hardware bypass, but it's still going through 50 feet of CAT cable. And if I bypass this, I'll just show you. Check this out. It's pretty much the same. If I hit play in Pro Tools, this is going to blow my ears out again. Jesus. So anyway, let's turn this down to something not ear bleeding, just so you can see. So that's going to be my test. So what I'm going to do is turn on peak hold, and that will give us our frequency response going to and from the table. So let's take a look. I'm just going to hit play. So this is going to give us our line. I'm just going to turn this down. Just so the graphics average out. You can see that when it does the math each time, it kind of updates this picture. But what I'm seeing here is what I want to see, which is essentially a flat line. Oh, this is so boring. But we're not doing this for science. We're doing this for internet troll pacification. I don't believe that, though, just because it's such a low frequency happening so fast. I don't think there was enough math to catch that. So I'm just ignoring that. That's like around 40 hertz and below. So we just finished. And you can see, though, we got a flat line. And that's what I want to see. If it wasn't flat, that would be a problem. We can demonstrate that there can be a frequency change introduced. Re-engage the backs, which has some tone control set. If I sweep this again, we're going to see bumps in this curve. See that? Because there's a low and high tilt. So we can see that signals going to and from that processor. And the way we were looking at it first with that perfectly flat line was in hardware bypass. So with this, let's switch to those 50-foot cables. I'm going to try all 4 of them. And I'm going to screen cap this for every single one of them. And we'll see if they look any different. We'll also just take a look and see if any of this noise way down at the bottom changes for the better or for the worse. Hopefully it's in and around the same. So let's see what happens. All right, so looking at my spreadsheet from the other day, this is all the I/O going into the patch XT. My back CQ, left and right, are on channels 69 and 70 for both the input and the output. And they're going to my table. The cables are red, and it's using cables number 7 and 8. Well, we're back in the machine room. You can see there's a lot more stuff going on here. And based on my spreadsheet, it's the 5th DB25 connector. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's the lower of the 2. So it's this one, and we can double check it. That is 15. That does not look like the right one. Oh, because I can't count. Right. So hold on. It's this one. This is 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's the first one that has to come out. And then let's look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this should be 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so these are the cables going to and from that back CQ at my desk. So I'm literally going to plug in those 2 50-foot cables here and just spool them out to the producer desk and hook them up, and we'll see how it looks. Well, if we follow this temporary cat mess to the back of my producer's desk, here it all is, kind of ending up behind here. All these hatches will eventually be closed and all this stuff will be hidden. But again, this is just my test. So I know that the back CQ is this right here. 2 of these are going to be 7 and 8. So 7, okay. So this one. And then 6, 7, 8. So this one. Okay. I'm going to take those 2 50-foot cables, plug them into these 2 right here. And then it's going to go into the back of the Patch XT, just running the cable directly. I'll run my sweep tests, and we'll just see how it looks.
Round 1, CAT6 UTP.
So this is the first test with the 100-foot of cable. Just so you all know, and this is for every test, and this is just how my system is set up normally, is the gain structure on the inputs and outputs is based on 24 GPU. So that's how that's set. Everything plays nice with everything. Let's take a look up here. So as soon as I engage this back CQ, it's jumping from the Patch XT through 50-foot of cable, going into the backs, looping back on 50-foot of cable. So I'm clicking it now. Here we go. It's like I still can't hear anything through my monitors, and I'm running full tilt. See right here. If I hit play as an example, and Pro Tools is in focus, Jesus. So yeah, so I mean, whatever this noise is, it's so minimal that it doesn't matter. And this is through 100 feet of additional cable. And it's not even audio cable, technically. It's CAT6 cable. So I'm going to turn on peak hold. And I'm going to hit play and let this sine sweep run a bunch of times. And let's see how the response looks. It should be a straight line if everything's working the way I think it should be. And I'm just going to turn down my speakers because I don't need to hear this. Just run this a bunch of times. Yeah, every single time this plays, it evens out this line more and more. And man, I really got to clean my screens. This whole place is a disaster. But we can talk about it. We can be honest with each other. Those little bumps and noise didn't add any bumps in frequency response, so that's good. If there was any deviation, I'd be really worried. But this is looking good so far. So there we go. That just finished playing. And we got a flat line, so that's good. I don't trust the readout here, though, and I think I talked about it before, because the sweep up is so quick. I don't think I had enough time to even grab the frequency and plot it properly. All right, so that's test number 1. This is category 6 cable UTP, which is unshielded twisted pair. We got a flat line where it counts. Our noise floor is like way down there. And let's go to our next test.
Round 2, CAT6 STP.
All right, here we go. This is number 2. This is CAT6 STP, so shielded twisted pair. Like before, the test is exactly the same. We got the output of the converter coming into the patch, and then it's going to the back CQ and hardware bypass, and then going back to the ADC. And this is over 100 foot of CAT cable. I'm wide open. I hear no difference in noise here. So whatever this is, it's so much lower than anything that matters. So let's just turn this down a little bit. And all right, I'm going to turn on peak hold. I'm going to set it to infinite. I'm going to hit play in Pro Tools, and here we go. Ow, that's still pretty loud. So let's turn that down. 5 more times just to average this out. One more of these sweeps. I mean, like, that's a good sign. So let's go to test number 3.
Round 3, CAT6a UTP. And it's also black for no particular reason.
And I'm noticing, like, these cables are chunkier. So I kind of hope that there is no difference because, I mean, it's fine if it's one cable being chunkier, but I need like 20 to 24 of these going to this table. So that's just like a big clump, right? Let's see how this looks. I'm also noticing, like, these red cables have white ties and these cables that are black have black ties. Do you think there's like boardroom meetings where they talk about this and like argue and yell at each other? I'm just going through the backs, and I have it on hardware bypass. And yes, I have double checked to make sure things are wired properly because, interestingly, well, not interestingly, if you're in hardware relay bypass, you could essentially have the inputs and outputs wired backwards and signal would still pass through. So if I engage this and it's wired backwards, we'd lose signal. But we're good. Show peak hold, and I'll hit play, and let's see what happens. And I'm going to turn this down 6 times to average out the graphics. But so far, so good. This is looking pretty much exactly the same. No signal loss going over 100 feet of cable. So that's good. And that's over. And we got a straight line, everybody. And if we look down here, it looks pretty much the same as the others. I'll take a screen cap right now, screenshot this, and I'll save that as test number 3. And once we're all done, we'll cycle between all 4 graphics really quickly and see if there's any difference in these wiggles.
Round 4, CAT6a STP.
Oh yeah, the spaghetti is at maximum now. Honestly, it looks the same. Like, like here's from the CAT6 UTP. Huh. I'm actually really surprised. So anyway, let's run the test. I'll turn on my peak hold. I'm going to hit play, and here we go. I could insert the Spanish flea music here or something. This is one of the most exciting moments of my life. 2 more times. You know what? It's like straight line. And just for some perspective, like that there is like a 5 dB jump. So even if there's like a teeny bit of inconsistency, like I don't know if that's a graphic redraw thing, but even so, I mean, it'd be less than 0.1 or 0.01 of a decibel. So like, honestly, I don't care. This test is done. I will screen cap this and I'll capture it. All right, so that's test number 4 concluded. All right, so here's the screen caps. And I've also digitally captured this in QuickTime, so I'll probably switch to that now and just keep my voice going. So here we go. I'm gonna do a quick cycle so I know how to synchronize these. Okay, so first test, patch XT to the matrix AD. No routing involved. Ignore this line because I forgot to clear that sweep hold. There's the noise down there. And let's just jump through this. So next one, the matrix DAC to the patch XT, back to the matrix ADC routed. So you can see as soon as you route something from an output to an input, there's a little bit of noise added, but like this is like right down at the bottom. Like it's outside of anything I can hear. Even when my speakers are cranked to ear bleeding levels, I can't hear anything. That's fine. And you can see that our sweep looks good. And let's go to the CAT cables. So first CAT cable, we're adding 100 foot of cable here. You're seeing it's adding like the faintest amount of stuff, but this is all out of audible range. Like I can't hear any of this stuff with my speakers wide open. If we jump from the unshielded to shielding, there was a little bit of extra little bass stuff going on down there. But again, like this is below anything I can hear. So at this point, I still don't care, to be honest. I know that's not a purist approach, but I'm just being realistic here. Switching to the CAT6a, which has a way higher bandwidth, I would have assumed to see some difference. But if we jump to that, still not really seeing any difference here that matters. And so let's go to the shielded version of this. You'd figure that would add a significant amount of difference or something. We can see that the characteristics of it are pretty much the same, jumping between them. If we jump between all three, it's just that oddly that one CAT6 STP had a little bit more bass stuff there. But like if we jump between the other three, they look pretty much the same. And the kicker for me is, okay, so the CAT6a STP, the shielded one, those are about $18 a cable. So 2 of those. If we jump to the bottom of the barrel 25-foot CAT5 cables I did my initial test with 2 weeks ago, it's not that much different. Like, I'm really surprised. Again, like this stuff is all well below the range of anything you'd ever hear. You're going to start hearing stuff up here, like when we're passing like -100. So I'm actually really torn. Like, I'm not too sure which cables I should buy. Look at that. There is that part of me that thinks, well, I should just get the most expensive ones. But the only problem with those is that they're a lot harder to work with because they're a lot thicker. Look how thick and clunky this stuff is. This is the CAT6a STP versus like the really cheap ones I got, which are just really simple to manage. Like, look how small this clump of 20 cables is. This is going to be like a huge spaghetti factory with these all harnessed together. So I almost want to go with these. I don't know. I'm torn. And I need to buy a ton of these things. So, you know, $3.75 a pop versus $18 or whatever it was. I'd prefer getting the cheaper ones. And like looking at these minuscule differences, I don't know. Let me know in the comments because I have no idea what to do here.
The cat cable bro down is complete with a big mess on my floor.
Hey, so I actually filmed this after I filmed everything else because I discovered this tool and I'm going to give it a shot. And my voice is still shot too. So here we go. This is called Math Audio THD meter. So it measures total harmonic distortion, which is another important measurement when evaluating audio equipment. If we look at our Matrix 8 line AD card, the total harmonic distortion is 0.00014%. So it's like below anything that would ever matter. And that's when it's receiving signal at minus 3 dBFS. So let's just try that here. I have in the patch the DAX output into itself, into the ADCs. So we're creating that loop because basically this plugin outputs a tone and then monitors it and then calculates what the distortion is. So I have our insight meter again. We're set to minus 3 at 1 kilohertz, and let's just see what happens here. So there's our 1K tone. You can see right down here, there are like a few multiples of the harmonic, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then nothing beyond that I can see. But let's see what it reads at. Total harmonic distortion, 0.00079. So, I mean, that's still nothing to cry home about. And just as a disclaimer, this isn't using scientific precision measurement tools or anything like that. I'm just doing this via software, looping back in through the converters I use every day. So this is more of like a real world test. And we can actually check to make sure this is actually somewhat accurate, because if I crank this to 0 dB and I'm at 24 dBu, anything hotter than that signal will clip out, creating a pseudo square wave of that sine wave, and it will give me odd harmonics instantly. So let's just see what it looks like at full scale, 0 dB, 1 kilohertz, 24 dBu. It's right on the brink. Nothing's clipping though. We're right at the top. And let's see what our total harmonic distortion is. 0.00064%. And just to show you, I'm going to go from 24 dBu to 23 dBu. So we're basically clipping the waveform by a decibel. And if I look at this measurement and start it, boom, look at all those odd harmonics. There's 1K, 3, 5, 7, 9. Like that's pretty bad. This is going to give us a pretty bad total harmonic distortion percentage. Total harmonic distortion, 1.3545%. So we can see that this is actually reporting back properly, because you can see our fundamental is about 1, our second harmonic was barely anything, and then our third harmonic jumps out, our fourth harmonic doesn't, our fifth harmonic jumps out again. So I'm going to do this test now going through the bypassed back CQ. It's in hardware relay bypass, so let's take a look and see what this does. And let me just set my gain back to 24, so everything's looking right. So we're still at 0 dBFS, which is super hot for a tone like that. And this is looping through that 50 feet of CAT5 cable, that bargain barrel cheap stuff. So let's see what this looks like. It looks pretty much the same. Let's see what this gives us. 2, 1, 0.00066826%. So still really, really low. So I'm happy with those numbers. So I'm not going to try all those other 4 cable variants again. I'm just going to pick the best one and see how much better it is, or the same it is, versus this bottom of the barrel CAT5 cable. So I'll be right back. I'm going to switch out the cables and let's see how it looks. So this is just for that total harmonic distortion test. Here's the 2 CAT6a cables. These are the shielded types. These were the most expensive of the 4 cable variants I tried. So there it is, going to and from the backs, which is up there, and it's going up into here. All right, so let's see how it's looking. Here's our real-time feed. These noises look the same as yesterday, which is a good sign. And let's do this. 1 kilohertz at 0 dBFS. This is full tilt. This would blow your face off if my speakers were on. These look a little bit bigger, actually, but still really, really way down. Okay, total harmonic distortion using 100 foot of CAT6a shielded STP cable, 0.00066606%. Let's just run that again, playing devil's advocate here. .000666460. I mean, her like kind of splitting hairs here. Between this and the frequency response test and looking at those noises, there's really not a lot of difference between the CAT5 and CAT6a shielded. So, all right, Internet, let me know your thoughts. All right, so I'm saying goodbye before I actually did the final test. So the victor of these cable wars is... boop.
See you all later. Coming up next, Patch XT testing part 4. Bye.